another element of Facebook is let's make sure all of the, or most of the joiners tag that application as their featured cost on their pages. Kasi sa dami, kasi yung Facebook can be very intrusive. Ang dami, maya, any day you get with 3-4 cost applications. So pagka medyo hindi mo inisip, sige, join ka na, tapos susunod nun, feature mo na yun. So nagkakabunan eh. Kailangan, ang isang panmakita ng marami, it's a common featured cost among the Facebook cyber activists.
In my pronouncements naman, every time I push yung campaign natin, I would always request yung mga users to make our campaign the featured or primary cost. I-retain nyo lang siya doon. In fact, ang request ko lang sa kanila, until we hit the 100,000, just put it. And then we can decide whether to move to the next 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, who knows. Now, adding to that, meron pa isang trivia. If you look at the number of Facebook users in the Philippines network, that's about 600,000 ang naka-register sa Philippines network. We are at 72,000, so we already have reached more than 10%. Now, okay, pero that's the Philippines network. Now, you're looking at Filipinos globally. So, ang sabi ni Carlo, we have 2 million Filipinos registered in different networks. So, we're targeting,
Quickly correction.
Yes.
2 million Filipinos registered on Facebook.
Yun, Facebook, registered Facebook. So, regardless siya kung nasan siya, Philippines network siya or other networks. So, we're there. We already have a percentage na doon na yun. Kaya pag nagpo-post ako, if you notice, I always look at the ranking. Para naman ma-feel nyo na ang ating campaign, walang Philippine-based global campaign na nasa global causes of the top 100. Tayo lang. If you look at it, walang Philippine causes. In fact, ang mga nasa taas lang, mga cancer awareness, yun lang. Pero walang advocacy na katulad natin na Philippine-based globally. Some are making 9/11 a national holiday. Mabibreach na natin yun. If we reach 200,000, mabibreach na natin yun. So, let's push for it.
Just added information, we already have a request for an eyeball in Cebu. The Cebu City Bloggers Society has set June 27 as their tentative date. And in fact, kung meron dito na among our resource persons who are free on that date, we'll send you more details about it. There's a similar request for June 27. There's a similar request for General Santos yata, yung mga Mindanao vloggers naman. And we are putting together an eyeball for Bulacan, for the staff ConAss advocates in Bulacan. Kaya andito po yung ating mga estudyante from Bulacan. Just so they can understand what this is all about. I came from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and we were able to meet and discuss this initiative with our OFWs doon. And the online community in KL is also interested and they'd like to know more. Apparently, hindi nila masyadong naiintindihan yung House Resolution 1109 and its implications on the 2010 elections. So we do have a lot of information dissemination work that needs to be done. But having said that, we'd like to go back to our topic, which is the common denominator why we are all here. And we'd like to ask our guests, Attorney Monsod and Congressman Golez. The Supreme Court has rendered its decision on the Lozano and one other petition, and they've said that it's still premature to to decide on the petition. It's not yet a justiciable issue. May we know from our resource persons, number one, what does constitute a justiciable issue? And secondly, what do you think will the pro-ConAss advocates try next?
The Supreme Court decision simply dismissed the petitions of Lozano and there are two petitions, I don't know the other one, on the ground that it's not yet a justiciable controversy. Why? Because in order to become a justiciable controversy, the House must first attempt to get a 3/4 vote of the combined number of the House and the Senate. Now, I understand from Congressman Golez, there are something like 266, 64, to which you will add the 23 senators. And you add that, and then you get 3/4 of that. So in effect, you get about 197 plus about 18 in order for the House to be able to say, we want to pass it by ourselves because we have 3/4 of the combined number. Okay, so it's about how much is that? That's 197 plus 18. About how many? 200. Yes. 266 plus 23 yun eh. Diba? So 289 and then you get 3/4 of that now. And then if the House gets that number and then transmits the resolutions to the COMELEC, telling the COMELEC to please schedule a plebiscite within 60 to 90 days, that now becomes a justiciable controversy. Because we're sure that the Senate will go to the court and say we had no participation there. The character of the Constitution provision requires a 3/4 vote of the Senate and the House voting separately. And now this is unconstitutional. That's the time when it becomes a justiciable controversy. Now, what will be the contention of the Senate, those who oppose? Number one, the constitutional provision says an amendment or revision of this Constitution may be done by the Congress by a vote of 3/4 of all its members. If you look through the Constitution, every time the Constitution talks about the Congress, it refers to the Senate and the House. Always. When they want to say House, they say House. When they say Senate, they say Senate. But when they say the Congress, it is House and the Senate. However, in ordinary parlance, we always call the House Congress, but not the Congress. If you notice, in 1109, the House always says Congress by a vote of not the Congress. So number one. Number two, the second, we have a principle of separation of powers and checks and balances under our Constitution. That is a basic principle in our Constitution. What does that mean? There is checks and balance in the three departments of government. There's checks and balance between the two houses of the legislature. Number three, there is such a thing as the principle of what they call the hierarchy of laws. What does that mean? If in order to name a street, you need the act of two chambers voting separately, what more when it involves a change in the Constitution? You must have a separate vote. Now, in the Constitution today, there is only one provision that allows a joint vote by the House and the Senate. Only one. That is to extend martial law. If the President declares martial law, within 60 days, the Congress must meet to determine whether it stops or it continues. And in that vote, the Congress meeting jointly we in joint session assembled can vote jointly and by a majority vote extended. By a majority vote, voting jointly. In other words, the Senate and the House senators count as only one voting. That's the only one in the whole Constitution where there is a joint vote. Now, in the Constitution, you will see many provisions na by a vote of 3/4 of the members. And so all of those require separate vote. Oh, now, go ahead.
Just